Okay, we've been studying the Pythagorean Theorem, which works something like this. If you have a right triangle, it must be a right triangle like we have here, and we know two of the sides, we can find the third side. In this case, I know two legs and want to find the hypotenuse. We use the Pythagorean Theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. The two legs, in this case 26 and 32, it doesn't matter which one's a or which one's b, but they go in for a and b. Hypotenuse, C, the long slanty side always has to go into that formula for C. So we're going to do this. We're going to do 26 squared plus 32 squared equals x squared. Now, most people, when they have this, they start multiplying these out, squaring them in their calculators, but I'm going to do this a little bit differently, because I know at the end of the problem, I'm going to have to take the square root. I'm going to do that first here. And notice I haven't done anything yet, but I got basically a formula now for finding x. I'm going to square these two numbers, add them up, and take the square root. Then put it in my calculator, and in this case, get 41.23. Now, I want to focus on this part here, where basically it turns into a shortcut. If you do a couple of these problems, you realize you're just going to square the two legs, add them, and take the square root. That's what we always do to find x. When we're always kind of doing the same thing over and over and over again, like we are in this kind of problem where we're just looking for the hypotenuse, one of the shortcuts we can take is, rather than doing it over and over again, we teach our computers to do it for us. And here's the formula we use. We just say that c is equal to the square root of a squared plus b squared. So we're going to teach our computers to actually perform this formula for us, to just take these two numbers, square them, add them, take the square root. So to do this, you're going to need to go over to your Google Drive and open a Google spreadsheet. So you're going to go through your Google Drive here. You're going to open the spreadsheets and select a blank spreadsheet right here. And we get this one. Now, I'm going to make mine look pretty. It'll make it easier for you guys to follow on the video. But you don't have to do all the coloring things I'm going to do. I'm going to just take this whole thing and make it black so you can focus on only the colored parts, the boxes that we're going to use are just going to be these colors. So here, what we're going to do, you can mimic this exactly. This is going to be your assignment, to create a spreadsheet that does the same thing as this spreadsheet. All right, so what I want to do is have the computer calculate the hypotenuse when I give it two legs. So what I'm going to put in these boxes, I'm going to say, here's one of the legs, and I want somebody to type the measure of one of the legs in the box below it. So I made two boxes here, one that says what's going in the box, and one that has one box that's a spot to type it in. And the same thing here. And I'm going to make the font bigger, maybe make it easier to read. Let's see. Leg and leg on this. So if someone's going to come in and they're going to have a problem, they're going to put a leg measurement here and put a measurement here, and the computer is going to spit out what the hypotenuse is. So I'm going to have the computer, maybe in red here, figure out the hypotenuse. Now again, you don't have to do this color scheme I'm doing, but we do have to make sure that somebody could actually use this. You're going to want to probably use this a couple times. And make that red. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. Someone is going to come in, and in the spreadsheet, they want to type in two measurements for the legs, and the computer is going to figure out the hypotenuse. So you come in, and as I said, type in a number here, type in a number here. If those are the two legs, the computer's just going to spit out an answer for what the hypotenuse is right there in the red box. Now, this is the formula that we want to use to do that. But the problem is, your computer, in this program, isn't designed to take a math formula as a normal math formula. If you look on your keyboard, there's no button for square root. We're going to have to do this a little bit differently. So this is what we're going to have to do for our formula here. We have this formula, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. That's the Pythagorean theorem. And we rearrange it to look like this. The square root of a squared plus b squared equals c. Now, problem number one. There's no square root button on your computer, so instead we're going to have to use the computer's code for a square root, which would look like this, where we actually type square root, SQRT, and then put in parentheses what we want to take the square root of. All right. And the second thing that's going to go wrong here is the computer doesn't know. The computers are dumb. They don't know what's supposed to be A and what's supposed to be B. They don't know that these are supposed to be legs of a triangle. So we're going to have to change this to actually make this the boxes where somebody types the numbers. So if you look here, someone's going to type the measure of one of the legs here in box B3. So instead of putting a squared plus b squared, for A, I'm going to say whatever number's in box B3. And then instead of B, I'm going to say whatever number is here in box D3. So I'm going to change the A and the B in that formula to B3 and D3. And this particular program knows that that means it's going to look in those boxes to find them. So our formula is going to go from this to this. We're going to take the square root of whatever number's in box B3 plus the square of whatever's in box D3, take the square root of that and get C. If you type this in, these numbers, these codes for box names, B3, D3 here, they should change colors. Now, if you didn't set your spreadsheet up the same way as mine, if you have the legs in box A2 and F2, then you have to change this to whatever the names of those boxes are. Finally, it doesn't know that it's supposed to be looking for C, so we have to talk about to the computer in its language, which is when we are telling the computer to do something, at least in this program, we start with the symbol equals. So the way we're actually going to, this is actually going to appear in the computers, we're going to start with equals, so that's the code to the computer that it's making a calculation. So equals the square root of this. Now that formula we want to put here in the box where we're going to have our answer. Now it's hard to see this, so I'm going to zoom in so you can see what we're going to type here, but I want to type that formula that we just added into this box. And I type it right in the box, and just double click on the box and I can start typing it. Now I started with equals, that means the computer, you're going to make a calculation. And it's square root of, and I want the name of this box, whatever number it finds in this box. Don't put 7 here, you're going to put B3. So if someone changes the number in the box, it'll change the calculation. So I'm going to type B3, oops, B3 there. It also doesn't have a squared symbol, so to do squared, you got to do this little up arrow, which is above the 6, so shift 6. This is box B3 squared, it's that 7 squared, plus, and then this one, box D3 squared, B3 to the second power, and close the parentheses to say it's the end. Now when I hit enter, I should get an answer. So if I put in two different measurements here, like the one that I showed at the beginning, what was that problem? It was 26 and 32, and we got 41. Let's see, 26 and 32, and get 41. 26, 32, and we get the 41 with the decimal right here. So the spreadsheet will now do this, and I can keep changing it. I put in a different measurement here, 5, 12, and it's going to calculate that the hypotenuse is 13. Okay, this is going to be part 1 of your assignment, is to make this spreadsheet. You can just steal all of the work I did and just mimic it exactly if you like. Copy the formulas down, the formatting down, everything exactly. But there's a part 2 to your assignment as well. This is going to be part 2. This is the other kind of problem where we know the hypotenuse and a leg, and we want to find the other leg. When we did this problem, it was almost the same thing. We still used the a squared plus b squared equals c squared, except now this one side, 16 in this case, is going in for c. That's our hypotenuse, and we're going to have to find this x. It's almost done the same, and most people would go straight to actually squaring the numbers here, and then subtracting whatever 12 squared is. It's 144, subtracting that from both sides. I'm going to subtract first, so you can see this. This is what I want. X squared equals the hypotenuse squared minus the other leg squared. And I'm just going to take the square root of that. And this is what I really want. But once again, and well, once we get to this point, we would just type it in the calculator. But once again, I can just simply turn this into a formula. Just like the first problem, where we did the square the numbers, add them, and take the square root to find the hypotenuse as a formula. Here, square the numbers, subtract them, and take the square root is going to be the shortcut formula for this one. So while in the first one it was a squared plus b squared under a square root, now it's c squared minus b squared under the square root. The only real difference is that now we are subtracting the numbers instead of adding. So back to your assignment. Part 1 is to make this spreadsheet that when I put in 2 legs creates the hypotenuse. But then you're going to make a second spreadsheet that will look like, almost done. This is what the second part of the assignment will look like. Right underneath it, you can do it in the same spreadsheet. But what I've created here is a spreadsheet that I'm going to type in the measure for this leg right here, and this hypotenuse right here, and then the computer will automatically calculate the length of the other leg. I'm not giving you the formula for that. That one I want you to figure out, but it's only a minor modification from the formula you used in the first spreadsheet. All right. So those 2 spreadsheets, that's your assignment. Good luck. Email me if you have any questions.